I can't believe I'm sharing this publicly, but over the last few years, my partner Pablo and I have been building Billroo, and we've spent around $300,000. So was it actually worth it? In this video, I'll be sharing all the numbers from our business, including how much we spent and how much we earned. And at the end of this video, I'll share my lessons and whether I think this business was actually worth it or not. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Queenie and I'm a personal finance creator with a license to give general financial advice. Keep in mind that anything that we talk about in this video or on this channel is general advice only and not personal financial advice. I'm just sharing my own personal experience and my business journey and the numbers and mistakes that we've made along the way. So I hope you find this video valuable. If you're curious about what goes into running a business, or if you already run a business or would like to start something similar yourself. So sit back, relax, grab a drink of your choice. Today I'm drinking this glow tea, which has green tea and strawberry. And let's dive in. So why did we actually build Billroo? For years, Pablo and I have been really into our personal finances, and we've tried pretty much every budgeting app on the market, but we couldn't find one that worked the way that we wanted it to, so we kept on going back to using a spreadsheet. And I do love a spreadsheet, but they do have limited capabilities. So we wanted to build something that could really answer the question of where did all of our money go and help us make better financial decisions for the future without having to spend heaps of time in spreadsheets and manually updating everything. We wanted something that was easy to use, that looked good, and something that's just really simple in its design. And I still remember this one day we were interviewing some of our subscribers and just getting to know them a bit better. And there was this one lady who was really smart. She's really on top of her personal finances. She has so many different apps to manage her finances and invest, and I was really impressed with her. But she did mention to us that she had tried so many different budgeting apps, but she also kept on going back to using a spreadsheet because she couldn't find one that suited her. And that's when it really clicked for us and we realized that we weren't the only ones that had this problem. We thought if someone like her, who was this organized with her finances, still couldn't find an app to suit her, maybe there is actually room for something better. So that's why we started building Billroo to solve that problem. Over the years, we've spent around $300,000 building Billroo, which is a crazy amount of money, but it did happen gradually and not all at once. We invested around $150,000 of our own money into Billroo, and $150,000 was revenue that we made from Billroo that has been reinvested. So let's go through our journey of building Billroo over the last 3 years and where that money actually went, and also how much money we've made in the process. So the very first version of Billroo was basically a spreadsheet replacement. It was built from scratch from people that we already worked with and trusted. I actually used to work for a fintech startup, and I met Vivek and Lucy while I was working at that company, and they were amazing to work with. So I reached out to them to see if they would be interested in helping us build Billroo. And I'm super grateful that they said yes, because they really helped us build a solid foundation. Now our team has grown quite a lot, but we've kept pretty much our whole team based in Australia, except for our designer Jess, who is based in New Zealand. This means that the development costs and the design costs have been a bit more expensive compared to outsourcing everything overseas. But honestly, I do think that the quality of work from our team and the products that we've built has been really strong and amazing and definitely worth the price. We don't have anyone full-time on the team yet, but we're hoping to get someone full-time soon. So at the start, Billroo was very simple. It only worked on the web and it was a desktop version, and basically users would download one of their CSVs from their bank accounts and then upload that CSV into Billroo and use it to be able to categorize their transactions and see where their money was going. The process was quite clunky and manual, and I still remember one day we did a workshop with some of our very first users of Billroo, and I left feeling so disheartened because they had so many issues uploading their spreadsheets into Billroo, and the tool was nowhere near where I wanted it to be yet. But I'm so glad we kept on pushing through and kept on improving the tool, because honestly, where we're at now compared to where we started is honestly light years ahead, and I'm so proud of what we've built. So in 2024, here are all of the costs that went into building Billroo. Even before we actually got into building the product, there are so many different setup costs that you may not even realize. First, we needed to find a name that was unique, had the .com available and wasn't already used by another company, and didn't have any obvious trademark issues, which is genuinely harder than it seems these days. We also had legal setup costs like contracts, terms and conditions, and other documents. In that first proper year in 2014, we spent around $101,000, but we only made $1,944 in revenue. So let me give you a bit of context around these numbers. At the start of Billroo, we were testing a freemium model. We wanted to become something like Canva for your personal finances. And we also made a small amount of affiliate revenue from other financial products. But people weren't really upgrading their account and we weren't really making much money from the affiliate revenue. And we didn't want Billroo to become a business that just kept on trying to push other people's products. So that's when we learned that the freemium model didn't necessarily work for our business. And at the rate that we were going, we would need millions of free users in order to make a little bit of money from our tool. It just wasn't a sustainable business model. Meanwhile, our expenses were around $101,000. The biggest costs in 2014 were mainly the development costs and the build costs. This was around $69,000. We also spent around $13,000 on running and processing costs, including setting up open banking, which allows Billroo to connect to your bank account securely and seamlessly. We also spent around $10,000 on design and branding, and around $7,000 on setup, trademark, legal, accounting, insurance, software, and other costs. So in that first year, we lost almost $100,000. So the real lesson for us here was, if we wanted to keep this business going, we needed to try something different because the freemium model wasn't working and it just wasn't sustainable for the future. I genuinely believe that if you're building a product that actually helps people, and our product is helping thousands of people manage their money better, and our users tell us all the time that they've saved so much money from using Billroo, and especially since Billroo is quite expensive to operate and to keep on improving, I don't think that charging money for it is greedy, because charging a subscription fee is what allows us to keep on building Billroo. It allows us to pay our team and make sure the product is running smoothly, and it's just way better for the future of Billroo as well. Because at this stage, we just couldn't afford to keep on spending so much money while getting so little in return. So we realized something needed to change if we wanted to keep the business going. I think we didn't start charging early enough for our business because we weren't that confident in it at the beginning, because we didn't know what it could become and honestly how amazing it could become. But I think that does come with time and practice. You do start building up your confidence with your own product, and you'll honestly be wondering why you didn't do it sooner. I think in general, we tend to undervalue the work that we do and the things that we've built. And I think that's a trap that a lot of entrepreneurs and just people face in general. So I'm really grateful that we clocked on pretty early and we realized that we needed to do something different with our model. So then there was 2025. In April 2025, we made a big change. We moved from the freemium model to a 14-day free trial, where people had to enter their credit card details in order to activate their free trial. And this was a huge game changer because people, when they were signing up to Billroo, they were a lot more intentional with it. And we were no longer carrying the cost of free users indefinitely, especially since we had integrated open banking. And that meant that every person that used open banking actually cost us money every month in subscription fees to other providers that allow us to securely connect to bank accounts. So these costs were really adding up. So instead of having a big amount of free users that were expensive to support and not really converting, we had a much clearer path from free trial to paid customer. So in 2025, our app revenue grew to $44,800, which does sound a lot better, but our expenses were still $124,000. So we still lost around $79,000 that year. The biggest costs that year were development, open banking, software, hosting, design, marketing, and building the mobile app. The other big change that we made in 2025 is we finally launched our mobile app. This was our most requested feature for Billroo because a lot of people loved using Billroo on the web and they wanted a quick way to engage with it on the go on their phone. In total, we spent around $25,000 on the very first version of the Billroo mobile app, which I actually think is pretty reasonable for what we got. The good thing about launching the mobile app was we were able to use a lot of the databases and things that we had already established on the web and basically connect all of those things up to the app. So it wasn't as expensive as building a whole app from scratch because we were able to reuse some of the things from the web. So in November 2025, we launched the mobile app and it opened up a whole new market. And around that time, we also spent quite a bit of money on marketing, which honestly didn't always work the way that we'd hoped. And that was another really big lesson for us. Marketing can get quite expensive, especially when it doesn't convert. So that's why we always make sure that we are tracking conversions really thoroughly, just to see exactly how much money we spent on marketing versus how much have we made. We're super lucky that a lot of Billroo's customers does come from my own audience. So I'm so grateful for all of the support that you've shown us throughout the years, because that's what's made this possible. And by the way, if you would like to try Billroo for yourself, I've got a link in the description below to a 14-day free trial. In all honesty, having a personal brand has been really really helpful because we're not completely reliant on other people marketing our product in order to get new users to our app. So if you are looking to build an app or start a business, I would highly encourage you to potentially build a personal brand. So then you're able to talk about your business through your personal brand while also trying to do some marketing efforts as well. And now that takes us to 2026, which has honestly been the best year so far. At the start of 2026, we saw some really amazing growth. The new year is naturally a time where a lot of people are looking to get on top of their personal finances, and we saw so many more signups, especially through the app. And this is the year where Billroo has actually gotten really close to breaking even, which is amazing after losing money for years. So in 2026 so far, our app revenue has been $69,000 and our expenses so far have been $76,000, which means Billroo is still slightly at a loss-making stage, but the loss has come down quite a lot to around $6,000 so far. This is a huge change, especially compared to losing almost $100,000 in 2024 and about $79,000 in 2025. The biggest costs in 2026 have been development, open banking, software, payment fees, and support. Here is a detailed breakdown so you can see where all of these costs went. I also did want to mention that we're at the stage where we don't necessarily need to keep on improving Billroo that much because it's honestly already at a really good stage. But because Pablo and I genuinely love Billroo so much and we want to keep on improving it, that's the reason why our development costs are still pretty high, because we want to keep on reinvesting the revenue back into the business to just keep on improving the app and making it better for everyone. We could decide tomorrow to stop building new features completely, and this would dramatically reduce our development costs, and we could even start making a profit then. But the reason why we've chosen to do this is because we just genuinely love building this app and we want to keep on making it better for everyone. Pablo and I still don't pay ourselves a salary from Billroo. We keep on reinvesting the revenue back into Billroo to grow because we want to keep on improving it and make sure that the business is sustainable first before we start paying ourselves a salary from it. And even though this year we are technically slightly in a loss-making position, the current revenue momentum is really strong. Across iOS, web, and Android, Billroo is showing around $20,000 in monthly recurring revenue, which is roughly $240,000 to $250,000 annualized. But to be clear, monthly recurring revenue and annual recurring revenue isn't profit because we still have expenses, and profit is left after all the costs. So a lot of people ask me, could you build something like this for free with AI in 2026? And my honest answer is you could probably build a prototype way quicker and cheaper using AI and vibe coding, but a prototype is not the same as a full-on working financial app. Billroo handles people's money data, subscriptions, open banking, user accounts, privacy, support, and ongoing maintenance. And for those reasons, that's why I think it's really important to make sure that you do have an experienced team on board to make sure that the app is working securely and it works the way that people expect it to. And I think that our team has done a really amazing job with that. But at the same time, I do think that AI and vibe coding can really speed up the process. I have noticed that this year our team has been a lot more efficient whenever they are working on new features and improving things within our app. And that's because we're able to use AI to build quick mock-ups and easily test how things could work. But when we go to actually put these features into our app, we make sure that we do it the right way and make sure that everything's connected and working properly. So in general, I think that AI has really improved the efficiency and also the quality of work that we've been able to build with our team. So if I was starting today, I could probably build this app a lot cheaper, but we probably couldn't have built the whole thing for free. So here are some things that we would do differently if we were starting today. The biggest lesson is that I'd validate the paid model earlier. Free users are great for feedback, but paying customers actually tell you what features they would need in a product in order to make it valuable for them. In general, I do think that we undervalue the work that we do. So I think this has definitely been a really amazing lesson for us to really stand behind the product and the work that we've done. Another lesson is to be more careful with time and scope. In the early days, we weren't always working on the most important features, but nowadays we like to prioritize the high impact, low effort work while also mixing in the high impact, high effort work. I feel like this balance works really well because each sprint we're able to keep on improving the product while still prioritizing prioritizing the really big, high impact, high effort work that will really move the needle with our customers. In the beginning, we weren't really that diligent on budget constraints, and we weren't really aware of how long it took our team to complete a certain task. But these days, our team are really aware of our budget constraints, and they make sure that they are working efficiently. And if they're working on a task that's taking too long and they don't think that it's worth the effort, they actually tell us, so that way we can work on something that's more valuable. This has been really helpful, especially at the moment since we don't have anyone full-time yet. It's been really helpful to make sure that we keep on improving the app, but don't completely blow the budget. So we're now a lot clearer on what's being delivered, how long it should take, and whether it's the highest value thing to work on. So what's next for Billroo? The future of Billroo is honestly to just keep on listening to our customers, to take on board their feedback, and keep on implementing new features that can really help them better manage their money. We have a page where users can vote for the features that they want to see next, and also add their own requests. And this is our source of truth whenever we are looking to prioritize new features in our app, just to make sure that we are really listening to our users. Some of the things we would like to add in the future include a subscription finder, so people can easily spot recurring transactions, and a net worth tracker, so Billroo becomes more of like a money dashboard. And one of our big goals this year is launching Billroo in the US, which is amazing because it opens up a new market for us, but it also does come with different setup costs because we will need to start paying for open banking in the US. So even though Billroo is close to breaking even now, we're still trying to grow carefully while still investing in the product, but also at the same time making sure that we're not overspending in order to grow. So was it actually worth it? Financially, it has been harder than expected, and there are definitely times where the numbers felt really scary, especially in the first and second year where we spent so much money building the app and improving the product, but we made very little in return. And to be honest, if the business kept on going like that, we wouldn't be able to keep the business running, and it definitely wouldn't be what it is today. So I'm so grateful that the numbers turned around this year, and thank you so much for supporting us on this journey. But emotionally and creatively, building this app has definitely been worth it. It's been so fulfilling and honestly really fun building this app with Pablo and our team. And the best part is pretty much every week we get the best messages from our customers saying that Billroo has generally changed their money habits for the better. It's helped them find things that they never realized before. For example, one of our users realized that he had not put in his tax file number into his banking app, and his banking app had actually been deducting 47% tax on his interest because they didn't have his tax file number. So he was able to get that money back. And another one of our users realized that they had been paying for one of their car insurances twice for the past 3 years. And I totally get that. There are so many things that I've been able to uncover with Billroo, and so many amazing insights about my spending and where my money comes from. I honestly just don't know how I would live without Billroo today. And I'm so proud of the business that we're building. It honestly means so much getting these amazing messages from our customers. I use it every single day to see how much money I've made and where my money has been spent. And it's also been really helpful, especially cash transactions. For example, if I sell something on Facebook Marketplace, I'm able to put that cash transaction into Billroo and track exactly how much money we've made from selling things on Facebook Marketplace. And at the same time, instead of having all of those cash transactions just not really properly tracked, we're able to see exactly where that money goes when we spend that money. So this has given us a really clear and accurate picture of exactly where our money comes from and where it goes. If we were to sell Billroo today, based on our current annual recurring revenue of around $250,000, if we were looking at 5 times annual recurring revenue, it would be worth around $1.25 million. And if we're looking at 10 times annual recurring revenue, it would be worth around $2.5 million, which is really validating because it means that we haven't invested all of this time and energy and effort for nothing. So it's really nice to see this really starting to pay off. We also like to give some equity of Billroo to our team, so they're also able to get some of the upside as Billroo starts to become more valuable. When I was working for the fintech startup, that was something that I personally really loved that the founders did for me because it made me a lot more invested in the business growth. So I'm really happy that we're able to do that for our team as well. We're not looking to sell Billroo anytime soon because honestly, we still have so much work to do and we still want to keep on improving the product. We're just very, very passionate about it. But it is nice to know that it is worth something if we wanted to sell it one day. One of our financial goals is to be able to actually start paying Pablo a salary from Billroo. In general, Pablo is the one mainly managing Billroo. He manages the team, he prioritizes which features are built, and he just makes sure that the app and the business is running smoothly. So it would be amazing to be able to actually start paying him for the work that he's doing. So yeah, in general, just very excited excited to see what the future holds. And don't forget, if you would like to try Billroo for yourself, I've got a link in my description below to a 14-day free trial. And I've also linked some budgeting videos and resources to Billroo in the description so you can learn more about how it works. Thanks so much for watching this video all the way through. Your secret word is up. So write us a comment below with the word app in there just so we know you watched this video all the way through. Thank you. Bye.